Coming up on Mountain News this morning, last year, Kentucky lawmakers passed an overhaul to school safety, and this year they're wanting to make some revisions to it. Meanwhile, we take you over to Laurel County, where a mother and son found a meth lab in a ditch, the first of its kind seen in 2 years in the county. Plus, a former University of Kentucky student accused of causing a crash that killed a 4-year-old boy appeared in court yesterday.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:32 on this Friday. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Will Puckett. Madison has the day off, but Brandon does not. Even got a little extra bit of him earlier at 5 o'clock. So let's head on over to him now as Brandon, the rain's falling on this Friday.
Yes, sir, it is. And a lot of folks sleeping in this morning. A lot of kids out of school due to sickness. So again, if you're out and about, just be careful. It's going to take you some extra time to get where you're going. Let's take a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar. As you see across the region, we'll take you on a bit of a tour, but some heavy rain falling in different types of locations. We start up to the north there, Pike County and parts of Johnson, Martin, and Lawrence County seeing some heavier bands of rain. We come back down south, parts of Corbin and London, down toward Barberville, and to parts of Harlan and Bell counties, even down into Claiborne and Campbell counties in East Tennessee. So again, just be careful this morning. Also some heavier rain in central Kentucky if you're going that way. Temperatures in the 40s across the board. Yes, you heard that right. 40s, not teens, not 20s, not 30s, 40s this morning. Our cool spot is Somerset at 41. Yeah. I still can't get over that. I just wanted to keep talking about that. But temperatures today will not climb a whole lot thanks to the rain and thanks to the cloud cover. Keep the rain gear handy all day. You'll probably need it as temperatures top out in the low 50s. I have the extended forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, an assistant teacher and baseball coach in Bowling Green has been charged with sexting. Attorney General Daniel Cameron says LaVance Anderson was sent sexually explicit messages to what he thought was a minor. Investigators say it was an undercover detective posing as a child online. They say Anderson also sent images of himself and asked for similar ones from the undercover detective. Police say Anderson worked as the junior high baseball coach and instructional assistant at an elementary school. He has since been suspended. Well, yesterday marked 2 years since a shooting in western Kentucky. Bailey Holt and Preston Cope died in that shooting at Marshall County High School. Students at the school are honoring the teenagers who died with a blood drive, and a comfort dog was brought into the school. The teenager charged in the shooting is still awaiting trial. Last year, Kentucky lawmakers passed an overhaul to school safety, and this year they are wanting to make some revisions to it. Much of what was in the bill came in the wake of a deadly shooting at Marshall County High School. And yesterday, on the second anniversary of that violence, lawmakers advanced an update to the bill. As WYMT's Phil Pendleton explains, one key component of that bill would ensure that every school resource officer has a firearm.
Senator Kerr.
Aye.
No one spoke against Senate Bill 8 when it was discussed in the Education Committee Thursday.
We're not arming teachers. We're not going down that path. But if we're putting sworn law enforcement officers, they will have a gun. And I think that the expectation of parents is that that officer will be equipped with a firearm.
Senator Wise says the vast majority of people he has spoken with agree this is needed.
And I feel like with this bill, we must put school safety and public safety first. And if a school board continues to not reach that decision, this will be notwithstanding that this will be implemented.
The bill would also set up mental health services such as suicide prevention and anti-bullying measures.
Where we're actually going to be able to say every single school now has someone designated to be that school-based mental health that's going to see 100% of students.
Difficult issues during.
Despite the unanimous vote, there were some concerns aired, some about action mandates and different methods on dealing with security.
Schools have different school cultures. They have different, I would project, and I'm no expert at this, of course, vulnerabilities.
The vote came on the 2-year anniversary of the Marshall School shootings, an event that inspired much of last year's School Safety Resiliency Act. And Senate Bill 8 is seen as an enhancement to that.
Maybe one positive that we can claw out of this bad situation would be improved prevention in our schools.
The bill now goes to the Senate floor. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, there is still a question on how some of the mandates will be paid for, and lawmakers say they will have to wait until Governor Beshear's proposed budget is released next week. It is all about protection and preparation. That is what Floyd County Sheriff's deputies said when asked about the department's new training initiative. Church members are invited to the department's annex building to train on their simulated response equipment to better prepare for potential threats to their congregations. The idea came from concerned church members who asked Sheriff John Hunt if the department had any advice for staying safe from outside forces. Deputies say the training scenarios are serious and the process is meant to help people feel more prepared to take on anything.
And the churches that we've talked to so far, they have willing people, that's willing to fight to protect their family and their church family, and that's what we're looking for.
To register for one of the sessions, contact the Floyd County Sheriff's Office. Well, in Prestonsburg, one person went to the hospital yesterday following an accidental shooting. This is a look at the scene. Police said a contracted employee of Big Lots was injured, though they could not release the extent of the injuries. They did not tell us the extent of the person's injuries or exactly how the gun fired. Well, yesterday wrapped up the first day of a Perry County murder trial taking place in Knott County. James Ronnie McIntosh is accused of killing Danny Mullins last year. McIntosh's lawyer says it was self-defense. McIntosh was visibly shaken in court during yesterday's trial. There were several witnesses, from Kentucky State Police forensic scientists to detectives who worked the scene on Four Seam Branch Road. We also heard the roughly 30-minute interview with McIntosh on the day of his arrest. The state medical official says Mullins had been shot 8 times, 3 of those being in the head.
So if he was standing in what we call the standard anatomical position, which is, I'll show you, it's standing up with your arms out like this, and the bullet was going like this.
They also called a man to the stand who lives on Four Seam and heard shots ring out around the time of the shooting. The trial wrapped up just before 6 yesterday evening and will continue today at about lunchtime. An investigation into drug activity landed a 50-year-old Harlan County man behind bars. Appalachian narcotics investigators say Bethel Stewart Jr. was selling cocaine and heroin. He faces drug trafficking charges. Police tell us more charges could be added. A mother and son walking in Laurel County found a meth lab in a ditch. Deputies tell us back in 2011, they dismantled more than 400 of the same HCl generator meth labs. However, this is the first one they have seen in 2 years in Laurel County. Police believe whoever is using the lab may have thrown it out of a car window after being spooked for some reason. They're just thankful no one was hurt.
Because these things are dangerous, they can actually explode. And it also still had a lot of the drug in it, meth, so it made it deadly for 2 reasons.
Police say if you see something like this, do not touch it and immediately call 911. Deputies in Bell County say they arrested multiple people on burglary charges. They say the men stole from the same family who lost 4 loved ones earlier this month. You may remember Beulah Mullins and her 3 grandchildren died in an early morning fire on January 7th. Deputies say less than 24 hours later, these 2 men, Dylan and Ralph Nichols, broke into a camper belonging to the grandmother and the 2 tried to pawn off stolen guns at a nearby pawn shop. They were found on the same property on Wednesday and were arrested. Now officials say the 2 had nothing to do with the fire itself. They were taken to the Bell County Detention Center. A former University of Kentucky student accused of causing a crash that killed a 4-year-old boy appeared in court yesterday. Jacob Heel is accused of DUI and reckless homicide following a September crash that killed 4-year-old Marco Shemwell near Kroger Field. Heel's attorneys asked the judge to allow the jury to visit the crash scene. Judge Lucy Van Meter granted that motion, despite the prosecution's objection that there are photos and videos that more accurately depict the scene. Heel's trial is set to start on April 6th. A man has been arrested following a Powell County police chase. This is how it ended. Deputies say Foxy Feltner refused to stop for police. The chase went through Clay City and Stanton. Deputies say he nearly hit a couple of officers. It ended when Feltner crashed on the Mountain Parkway. Feltner's charges were not immediately clear. The southbound lanes of Interstate 75 were closed for about 2 hours yesterday after a tractor trailer overturned. This happened near mile marker 46. That is north of London. We are not sure if the driver was injured or what led to the crash. A crash here in Perry County closed a road for a brief time yesterday as well. Police tell us at least 1 person was flown out due to head injuries. No names were released. 2 cars were involved in the crash. Police have not told us what they believe led to the accident. Kentucky State Police are in charge of the investigation. We now know the name of a woman killed in a crash in eastern Kentucky. It happened Wednesday afternoon in Perry County on Upper Second Creek Road. The Perry County coroner identified the victim as Joanne Plowman. State police tell us it appears Plowman was backing her Expedition in her driveway when the SUV went over an embankment and hit a tree. An icon in the animal kingdom is celebrating a big milestone. Fiona the hippo turned 3 yesterday. We'll tell you why that's special coming up.
Where's Cassidy Stricklet when you need her? The work and school week is coming to an end, but the forecast looks unsettled for the weekend. I'll track it out for you in about 3 minutes.